Hi, everyone.
Chapter 10, Chapter 10.
All right, here we go. Chapter 10 for To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes, sorry. Online task folders out. Notes. Remember, you can pause us, okay? So we start off this chapter with getting an opinion about Atticus. Like his kids, remember they complain about him. We find out that Atticus is 50 years old. That's kind of old for having kids, I guess, their age, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So their view of Atticus isn't really a great one. They think he's boring. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't have a cool job. He's just a lawyer. He sits at home.
And even more importantly for Jim, he doesn't play football with them.
Because Jem is all about football. Football, foosball.
Foosball.
Okay. We get that straight off opinion about him, but we also find out that, Scout is fighting still, all right? And remember, Atticus tells her, no more fighting, Scout. And
basically, there's one person that kind of makes her forget. Okay, so people like Cecil Jacobs, who was the first person who we heard who said, your daddy defends niggers, right? So when he said that to her, that Scout, of course, wanted to fight, but that was the one time that she walked away, which really showed her own courage and bravery for being able to walk away from the fight. Exactly. Because her dad to say make sure that she use her head instead of using her fist.
But she does promise that she's not going to fight anymore, and she even says that word got around that Scout Finch wouldn't fight. So she was like, I can't have that word going around, so I'm not going to fight publicly, but I will fight people like Frances, her cousin, right? It kind of moves over, and we get word that Atticus is defending Tom Robinson. We learn a little bit more about Atticus in this chapter, and we find out that Atticus also gets the kids air rifles.
Yes, right? So they have air rifles, and of course, the kids don't believe their dad is capable of doing anything, so they don't think he's going to be able to teach them how to shoot because he's so boring and old, and he needs to wear glasses.
Exactly. Who does that? And Uncle Jack actually tries to tell them, there's a reason why your dad doesn't really do guns and whatnot, but it doesn't fly with them. It's really boring. But Atticus gives some killer advice, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's really good, Grace, and this is something you use for your online task folder. So he says, shoot all the blue jays that you want if you can hit them, but remember, it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. Right? So now that we're thinking about this whole it's a sin to kill a mockingbird.
What? Oh, that's the title of the book. Why can't we kill mockingbirds? On page 119, the title.
Okay, so mockingbirds. We have to get into the discussion of why it's important that we don't kill mockingbirds. And why is that, Miss R?
Well, Miss Mowdy actually kind of explains a little bit about why mockingbirds shouldn't be killed. And she specifically says that mockingbirds don't do one thing but make music for us to enjoy. She continues on talking about what mockingbirds do, but they don't do one thing but sing their hearts to us. That's why it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. Oh, so they just kind of do nice things.
They do nice things. They're innocent.
Oh, they don't bother anybody?
They don't bother anyone, and they only make beautiful music.
Oh, so they only do things that are good. So how do we relate this to people or characters maybe that are in our story?
So I have a really good one, right? Thinking back to a chapter or so ago, think about the fact that Scout had a blanket put over her shoulders.
She did. Who did that?
During the fire, having a blanket put over your shoulder when it's really cold, just protecting someone and not causing harm. Exactly. That's one of the reasons that Atticus says they'll keep the blanket and that they won't return it.
Yes. So Scout wants to start talking a little bit more about Atticus and what he does and why he's so old and he's so boring. Miss Mowdy's like, I'm going to cheer on Atticus. I'm going to kind of explain why he's a good person. Look, he's able to do this. He's able to do that.
He's able to make a will airtight.
Yeah, he plays some kind of harp.
The Jewish harp.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. If my dad played the Jewish harp, I'm pretty sure that'd be real exciting.
Right? And that's how they feel. They're like, I wish he could do other things that other young dads can do. But Atticus doesn't do those things.
He does not. He doesn't take any physical risk. And he doesn't even play in that big football game where everybody's dad was playing. Even Cecil Jacobs' dad was playing, and he got what do you call those? Touchdowns. Oh, yeah. I know football, really. So that was that football game of the Methodists versus the Baptists, okay?
So, Calpurnia tries to support him as well as they're talking through all the things that Atticus is capable of doing. So, in this chapter, actually shifting, there is a point where we now get to see Atticus kind of put in some work that the kids are interested in.
Really?
So the kids are outside and they realize that there's this dog coming down the street.
Old Tim Johnson. He's
Old
the pet
Tim Johnson, okay? And he just doesn't look right. He's like hobbling on one foot. Yeah, we
We
make,
just-
I don't even know, right? So the dog is coming down. He's really ill, and they go in and they decide to tell Calpurnia.
Exactly. And when they call out, we're on page 123, Jem actually says, he's sick, Cal. Something's wrong with him. So, like, Cal kind of looks at him and she's like, oh, no. And then she looks at him a little bit closer and she realizes, Cal calls it out. She's like, he's a mad dog, all right? Why could that be a concern, a mad dog?
And mad dog, you have to really think about it. It's kind of, it can go both ways here. It can be literally and then also figuratively. So the mad dog having rabies, right? If you think of a dog being sick and having rabies, that's one way. But in this book, also metaphorically, the town's disease. If you think of what the town's disease and think about old Tim Johnson now approaching, think of some issues that are occurring in the town.
The town does have definitely a disease. That's the best way to describe it. And what could be that? So anyway, moving back on with what happens with this poor dog, Cal obviously calls Atticus. Atticus calls the sheriff. The kids are told to go inside. Everybody's inside. Everyone's freaking out because this mad dog is coming down the road.
Oh, the
right?
one thing that I thought was awesome was that Calpurnia still goes to the Radley house, even though there's not many people that go to the Radley house. She goes, she's banging on the door, even though they're not outside. There's a mad dog coming. There's a mad dog coming.
But
right?
they don't listen, do they?
They don't listen. They're inside anyway.
Yeah, they don't even like open the door, man.
So finally, Atticus
Yeah. Well,
arrives.
we meet Hecate, right?
Yes, who was the town sheriff.
Okay, cool. So they actually have to make a decision because this dog is very sick, and so before this dog possibly does something to harm anybody else, they're gonna shoot it. I know some people get a little upset about that, but that's how they dealt with it back then. So
Sheriff Hecate actually decides that he wants Atticus to take the shot. He throws the rifle basically at Atticus, and Atticus points out that he hasn't shot a gun in quite some time.
30 years. That's on page 127. He hasn't shot a gun in 30 years. But I didn't even know Atticus shot guns. What?
And
He's born.
the kids don't know that either, but this is the first time that they get to see it. So as they're watching their father, like, with this gun, and he has his old man glasses on,
He actually takes them off.
they fall. Don't they fall?
Yeah, they fall and break.
Right? And then he, like, puts them up. So now they're seeing him in this different light, and here he is as they're watching through the window, about to take this shot on this mad dog.
And does he make the shot, Mrs.
He makes
Potup?
the shot in one shot.
What?
Because
One
he's
shot?
old one-shot Finch.
One shot Finch. What does his name come from?
So we find out that in his younger years he had this because he was a deadest shot in Macomb County, right? He
What does
could
that even mean?
shoot anything, no matter where it was. He was very consistent, very accurate, and this is the first time his kids are actually